Okay, you guys, part 2, which is now the coding play. So a couple of questions that it asks is, if I switch this wire right here on the Arduino board from 13 over to 12, what happens? And of course it breaks the circuit because based on the code that I'm using, it says I need to set it to 13. So all I have to do is retype this to 12. I'm going to debug. Sketch is good, so I'm going to upload it. And so right now it's not working, and now it is because I switched it in the code. So one of the other things it's asking about when I'm doing it, or when I'm building the code in here, is what happens with all of these backslashes. And these backslashes, I know from previous Java and C++ courses, is it's basically note-taking. So it's basically telling the system to ignore that line. So if I was to do 2 backslashes in front of this very important void setup, it removes the color, and so it removes the command, and it breaks. So then if I were to debug, it says that this was not defined because I basically took out, or the program is ignoring void. So anytime I put a double backslash in front of something, like in these 2 right here, it's basically notes to the user. At least that's what I remember from my 2 semesters of Java course taking in college. So, and then some of the other questions it asks is, so what happens with all these backslashes? So of course that's exactly what the answer is going to be every single time. And then it asks about the brace, or the bracket in my coding. So if I was to remove my bracket, it's kind of like a circuit. So kind of like earlier when we broke the circuit, if it's incomplete, it's not going to work. So when I unplug it, it's not going to work. The circuit is incomplete. When I run it here and I run the debug, it's broken. It thinks that this was defined by void and it needs to continue. And so it's confused when a new command is being started. So when you correct that and you close the loop or the setup, it continues working. I'm glad that I can fall back on a little bit of my knowledge from previous courses, because at least I remember what some of that needs to be and what some of that needs to do. But some of this stuff, for instance, the question asking about high and low, I am less knowledgeable in. So it says what happens if you place the double backslash. Again, it's basically going to ignore that part of the command. So when we do this and we put it in front of the digital and we run it, it grays out all the colored erases because it's ignoring the command. Now it's going to say it's okay because since we backslash here, it's ignoring this. We've still defined other things happening. But notice that this one right here where it says high, it's turning on. It says it's going to wait, and then it says it's going to turn off, and then says it's going to wait. And then it's going to wait, and it's going to turn off, and it's going to wait. So basically I just erased the part of the coding that's going to turn the light on at all. So once I submit this, it's going to turn off and it's going to stay off. So now that it's run and it's submitted, it's off. It's going to stay off because it's waiting and now it's off, and it's waiting and now it's off, and it's just going to keep doing that over and over again until I bring this back. So if I erase that and then I backslash through the part that turns it off, ideally it should stay on forever now. So I'm going to test that theory right now. And look at that. My theory is correct. I know something. All right. I'm excited that I figured that out. And so now I'm going to correct the code back to its original state so that way I can save it. And I hope everyone has as much fun and as good of luck working this out and figuring it out and seeing the patterns between the code and what is actually happening physically in front of them, because it did take me a little bit of time to make that connection. And I'm still scared of burning out something, but I am ready to keep going. I love it.